Sheffield Wednesday, 5 minute view from the Cop. Well, we nearly did it, didn't we? Nearly. Close. But we picked a point up against Watford. And, yeah, what might have been, I'd been saying it, that there were potential there, that we might be able to pick something up. To be honest with you, we come away a little bit disappointed that we didn't get all three. Very disappointed really on that, but see how the game went. I was talking to one or two people. A lot of people have drifted in and out this season as far as fans go. So there's times when people decide that they come in not been for a bit. And I said, well, we have actually been playing on the front foot a little bit, with a bit more backbone, a little bit more spine, a little bit more spite to the game. But there's only so much you can give, and before you're knackered. And generally, whole season it's been 60 odd minutes for us. We've run its course. Apparently we don't quite realise that we've got 5 substitutions that we can make. Yes, I know. Half of them are about a 5-year-old, but they've still got a bit of running in them. They can still do half an hour at least. So the match, well, the team was very much similar to as it has been, with a couple of changes. Cole Miggy coming in for Iofa, who a little bit error prone on his return into the match, into the squad. Actually, Pierce Charles was okay to continue and be back in. We got Yates and Lowe up front, and Charlie McNeil was left on the bench. We'd got Ingleson in the middle, and a sort of a decent setup. We're starting to get a bit of a settled setup now, which is pretty good. So talking to Ian at the side of me, and he just saying, I think it could be that at some point, we get something, because this is a very, very weak championship this year. Very weak. We got, I think Watford were 9th before the start of that match, and they didn't. You're talking about teams that are potentially on the verge of a playoff place to go into the Premier League. And for me, I think we saw more when you got us, Plymouth and Ipswich, fighting for the League One title before. I think you saw more about teams around that. What we've seen this season, Coventry, who apparently, now are not the team they were, but when we first played them, they certainly were pretty much head and shoulders above the rest. We've seen some good passing sides. Southampton, that one, and even though we've been soundly beaten in some cases, a lot of these sides they're not really that good. They've soundly beat us because we've shot ourselves in the foot multiple times. We've just allowed them to walk through our defence, or free headers at set pieces and things like that. We sort of caused our own downfall, really, in that sense. So we got to 20 minutes, I think we're 0-0, and people around saying, well, look at this, 20 minutes, we haven't conceded. Well done. How good is that? And then we got to half time and 0-0. And we're like, hang on a minute, this is pretty good. Are we going to be able to hold on? And that's the thinking nowadays of a Wednesday night. Are we just going to be able to hold on and get a 0-0? But Jerry Yates has been scoring recently, so after all, it's a special occasion. Palmer's 500th appearance as a as a Sheffield Wednesday player, 500 for one club, and there's not many people can say that. And I think, you know, the circumstances are probably giving him more exposure than perhaps he would have had when you think about the strength in those certain areas that he can play over the last few years. But, you know, he's been doing his job. And he generally is always fit as well, so which is a bonus. I think, you know, if he keeps himself fit, then there's always going to be that option, isn't there? Although it's just reactions and things like that perhaps, you know, slow over time. Being able to do that for any length of time. But, you know, tonight he showed that he's a good player. Very, very good servant for the club. Absolutely brilliant that he's hit that mark, 500. Pity Bannon couldn't have done it as well, you know, but who knows, he may come back to close that chapter off. So, yeah, second half, you're thinking, well, we'll see how it goes. We'd seen a few scenes from Platoon with Watford going over. So you got to watch a football match, and you got to see reenactment of some scenes from a film. They were just falling. Every time we went anywhere near them, they were falling over. Yellow cards flying all over the place. What a dirty, dirty side they must be thinking that Sheffield Wednesday are. But I'd like to see a bit of bite. You know, a little bit of spite in some of those challenges. Some of those we saw where they were, you know, putting it in stand and taking a player. These were not season ending when it came to football in the 70s. You know, I know that they're wearing carpet slippers nowadays, but yeah, I think that it were good to see a bit of bite. And actually, when the crowd that were a bit low in numbers tonight, they obviously all spent up at Derby. But you know, when the crowd saw that kind of thing, then you know they were cheering, and the crowd picked up from being a bit of a library in the first half to actually being a lot noisier during the second. And then we scored. Jerry Yates with a header. You know, he's becoming a bit of a thing. It's very interesting. After the Derby fans last week were saying, "Oh, the invisible man," you know, you just don't see him. Well, yeah, we're seeing him. He's running around. He's putting himself about for not a big player, but he's mobile. But he is a poacher. He can knock him in from the right places, you know. And if we build around his strengths, then you know we're going to get to a situation where we always know we're going to concede. We're just crap at defending, but you will be able to always have that opportunity to be able to get one back. You know, we've got some good attacking players in the two new lads, Ademola and Darla, and with Charlie McNeil as well. So that gives us something going forward, but we just need somebody to be able to put it in the net, and yeah, it seems to be the guy. So we're 1-0 up, and yeah, I took a photo at the scoreboard. I think a lot of people were doing that, but then we just thought, yeah, we're not going to be able to hold on. But they didn't really have that much coming back at us. I'm a bit surprised, really. You know, we just thought, well, they're going to just push on now, and yeah, we're not that. For a team at 9th, yeah, we're not really that good. Not really seemed to matter to them that much, but they did manage to get one back. And again, I think you've got to say some blame's got to be. I've not watched it back, but it was the other side of the pitch. It started off as a shot which stung the hands of Pierce Charles. He palmed it to himself and then went to get it, and then there were a big scramble which seemed to just go on forever in front of him, and he didn't. We managed to let that one in, unfortunately, And then you thought, well, okay, so does this mean that, you know, they're gonna they should have been absolutely shed loads of injury time in the first half through 6 minutes, but like I say, their players were just going down for lengthy treatment constantly, and then second half we didn't expect to have that much injury time, but we did. And so we were like, okay, so this means that they're going to come at us again, 7th minute of extra time with a winner, but they didn't. You know, Charlie McNeil, when he came on, he could have made it 2-0 easily, straight through, clean through. What an opportunity. And you thought, Yates, they got that. Maybe Yates reminds me a little bit of like a Steve McLean type character. Maybe not as, you know, not as prolific, but actually, you know, a bit mobile. Seems to be just there at the right time. So we ended up with a point out of it. Players were absolutely knackered, absolutely out on the feet. But it were the Watford players that all went down. At the end, they all felt like they'd given everything. They didn't give everything, absolutely not. I would be, if I were their fans, their manager, I'd be saying, not good enough. You're not good enough to go up. But fair play to the ones that did turn up on a Tuesday night. And they look like they got some pace about them. No end product. They're like us. But not now. We've got Jerry Yates. We've got 3 songs now. But yeah, at the end, just one little downer I think on that we'd got Svante Ingelsson, Jamal Lowe, who does so much running. So wow, they were just absolutely knackered. And they needed to be took off and replaced just with some fresh legs, and you wonder whether, you know, we would have conceded if we could have done that. And at the end of the day, you know, we got 5 people on the bench. Those opportunities we'd still got plenty of opportunity to replace. You know, we got a ex-Premier League, very highly decorated midfielder sat on the bench. I don't really know what's happening there. You know, we got Will Granger, we got Kyugbo. Maybe his opportunity to pull us through at the end, pull us through to in our quest to get 0 points. But we got options. We got Nandala on the bench. He would have carried ball, done a bit of running. Unless they're all injured, I don't know, but just taking the space up. But maybe, you know, I'm not a football manager, but certainly I think, you know, we could have took some off and given them a bit of a rest. What we're protecting at end of the day, you know, just go for it and see where that takes us. But yeah, absolutely fantastic, and I'm so proud that I was there to see it and to applaud those players off at the end. They gave everything. They were absolutely fantastic. We've only got a point, but it's going to happen, innit? It's going to happen one of these days. I'm going to be telling you here, well, what a great performance. We managed to get a win on merit, on endeavour, not just because the other team's just not good enough. We are competing with teams nowadays. We're competing with them, and we've got a bit of a cutting edge as well, and we've got a bit of backbone. So we're showing a bit of spirit, and yeah. So good times ahead. Stokes family were in the director's box. Apparently, they're going to be buying the club for a couple of quid. Don't matter. You know, we'll just see where we go from there with us minus 15 next season. But either Stokes or Ashley or anybody else, just give us a bit of hope. You've seen what it means to the fans. You've seen how much the city of Sheffield supports football. What a great opportunity. You just cannot let that club languish away. You know, there's a bit of money behind us with a few players. Next season, we're going to be packing that ground out at times. So let's see where we are anyway. So until then, let's hope for a win on Saturday. And up the Owls.